physical papers. So in spite of that, we are uploading all the papers and all the things. Even in all physical records, they are asking for the assessment part of it. So how to avoid that?
I don't think so relevant to the forum this question because how do you manage it? I can tell you that. Because I don't want to tell you.
So for the income tax is concerned.
So see the provision of Maharashtra, trade selling provision act is concerned. If the assessment is done, they ask for the records of balance sheet. It is provided under the act, so you need to provide those.
No, the salary, the tax is deductible on monthly basis on the salary paid. It is not presumptuous. Okay, so you cannot anticipate because you may not get that salary in the year.
It's not like.
So it is only deducted on the salary paid. Okay, that's why it cannot be deducted in anticipation. 1 minute, I will complete. We'll have time for only 3-4 last questions.
Good evening. I just have a confusion on the LWF Act. The definition of supervisor, the LWF Act is still confusing, and many times we go on our own assumptions of defining it and paying the LWF. So
how many here are aware that there is a labor welfare fund?
We do.
Basically, what is supervisor's cadre?
Yeah. They were just wondering how many are aware that such ISAB Act है. BD cigar worker.
Look at any person doing any district is a designation and a decisive.
Excuse me.
You have to know what duties he is discharging.
Somebody asked.
Whether that discharging duties comes within the purview of the supervisories or the managerial cadre, that decides his designation, not the. His duty decides not his designation.
Nature of work is main important. You may term a person as executive, but if he is doing nature of work, he doesn't have any deputy, he's not doing administrative work, okay, he doesn't have any deputy under him, no one reports to him. You may have him, he may be earning 40,000-50,000 salary also. But still he'll be, you need to deduct 12 rupees on June and December.
One is example I will give you. In 2 different cases are there where a personal officer has been held to be a workman under the category. At the same time, there are a number of 2-3 judgments are there where a personal officer is not a supervisor, he is a supervisor and he is a managerial cadre. So with the same personal officer designation, but there are 2 different judgments are there.
Right.
So it doesn't carry what designation is there. What he is doing the performing, what are his nature of duties is important.
Next question here.
Good evening. Just needed one clarification on payment of overtime. So payment of overtime is basically calculated on basic plus DA. So just wanted to know if there are any amendments or any judgments which allow allowances also to be a part of that calculation. So basic plus DA plus allowances, will that be also considered for calculation of overtime?
This issue is always debatable.
But
This issue is always debatable whether DFS allowance plus basic only is to be paid on that or other allowances are to be covered or not to be covered.
no, I would like to answer that.
For this purpose, just there are number of judgments are there where latest in the Kerala High Court, in workman Najapanai, something versus Chief Commanding Officer of Navy, Naval Dock. The judgment has been delivered by the Kerala High Court, where an employee was getting basic plus DA plus traveling allowance plus compensatory allowance plus small family allowance, and 1/4 allowance was there. 4 allowances were given in addition to the basic. The Kerala High Court has upheld. Recently, in the last 4-5 months, the judgment has come up. The other allowances, which are traveling allowance, small family allowance, compensatory allowance, is not a part of the wages because it is an incidental payment and it's like an incentive payment to the workman. Therefore, they are not to be covered as a rate of ordinary wages. So only the basic and DA were considered to be the wages for deriving the overtime wages.
The courts still don't believe in the CTC concept. They still believe that housing allowance is for housing only. You can't buy groceries in that. Okay? So they would presume that if you do overtime, you don't pay additional HRA, house rent, you don't pay additional transport or that kind of thing, and that's why they do not include this. But sir, There was a question. There was a question there somebody asked, and he was mentioning probation period of about 240 days. Okay. The probation as per law is only 3 months. So what happens if the company has probation for more than 3 months?
Probation covers under industry standing employment hours. Where the companies have their own standing orders, either this is always standing orders to which you are going to apply, or you have your certification of standing orders are there. Probation covers under only these two acts, no other third act is there for this. So within the framework of these two standing orders, that is either model standing orders or the certificate standing order, the probation period is always fixed. Model standing order says it is a 3 months, not beyond that one. Any probation period beyond the 3 months, what is the future of it? You know it.
Why is the provision of 240 days after leave? Same government of 90, but earlier case of preparation of leave.
So for leave is fine.
Leave is different. Look at why leave has come up. If you see the Stop and Establishment Act, look at what has happened in the industries, factories. Unless you complete the 240 days, workman is not entitled for the leave. Whereas other Shops and Establishment Acts, where Shops and Establishment Act always say that when you work for 90 days, you are entitled for the 5 days a week.
Fine.
So the parity has been brought. There is nothing new. It is just a cosmetic change. It's not been made out that okay, instead of 20 days for 1 day, 1 day for 20 days, it's not been made as a 1 day for 10 days, which is could have been a drastic change. It is just a cosmetic change. Instead of 240 days, let the workman to work for 90 days, let him get the leave. That means what used to happen if somebody works for 200 days and he has to go for out of the job, then he doesn't get the leave payments. So to go away from that, this provision has been brought.
Thank you. Next question, last question.
Hello, I'm Alekha. My question is, I'm working with Briggs Global. My question is related to trade union. Can you help me in that? Question says that if the employee is trainee during his training period, can he join the union? And can management tell them not to join union, or if the training period is for 3 years? So entry for
That could be the reason for joining the union.
For certain trades, training period is for 1 year, and for another trade it's for 3 years. So can you help me in that?
Law doesn't provide. Look at Convention number 81, which is the right of formation of the unions, has been guaranteed by the ILO, as well as the freedom of association is guaranteed by the Constitution of India. Except in the cases of the defense, where it is specifically been prohibited for the formation of the unions. Where in other matters, it has been allowed, it is not been prohibited the formation of the association or formation of the unions. Either it may be with the central government peoples, with the state government peoples, or the private industry. It cannot be prohibited.
Okay, there is a loophole, or there is a small opening for you if you want to take advantage of that, but that is a very weak defense. You will have to see the constitution of the union. Who can become a member? If it says only permanent employees of so and so company, this union is formed to associate, then you may say that trainees are not permanent, that's why they cannot. But if you, the moment you take this, the union will amend their constitution.
No, this is deeper. One thing, even the company union may not consider that he could become a member of union, but law doesn't prohibit him to go to the other union.
Sir, even it's my right, under Constitution of India, it's my right to have an association.
Then what I said it.
So
That's a different thing, but whether you can join a particular union,
So
is
we can form
different.
another union.
That's what I said.
They can form trainees union.
Yes, said that the last question. This is something we are asking because it could be of the advantage of everybody. That I am taking a stand with my union in my company. They have given me a charter of demand. I cannot afford losses. So I am taking a stand with the union. I am taking a stand with the union that look, boss, There is no law in this country where I have to settle a charter agreement with you. At the most, you can go to the adjudication. I don't have to because I cannot afford capacity to pay. This is the principle. At the most, you go to the Labour Commissioner, go to Mr. Deepak Pawar, okay, and he will refer you to the adjudication. That's it. Is that the right position? Is that the right stand?
Sir, it is the right position.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to confirm that. I'm
Because-
going to record here.
Yes.
This provision in India is different than what exists in US. In US, you can be prosecuted for not negotiating in.
Not negotiating is different issue. Not negotiating is also unfair practice. But to come to a conclusion, to sign a settlement is not an unfair practice.
Yeah, no, he's saying that anything cannot be given, so that there is a little difference. But here, yes, there is no compulsion to give any increase anywhere.
Yes.
Okay, and if you have capacity, no capacity to pay anything, only thing you will have to prove to the court. Okay, and you will, but you must have capacity to pay the lawyer. Any last question? Okay. You want the mic?
No, that's fine. See, my basic question.
If you can stand, that will help you.
My basic question is about ESIC. Nowadays, ESIC is online, and every contract labor must be he must be registered on the website. That online portal, and must get generated his TIC. So without TIC, we don't allow the contract labor in our premises. But what happens in the practical, the moment you enroll that particular contract labor, the next day he may don't come to the plant. So sometimes contractor is hesitating that whether they should register them on the ESIC or not. And at the same time, as an employer, shall we allow them to enter in the premises or not? That is the question.
Hello. Any person entering the premises for the work is to be enrolled with the SIC and with the PO. Irrespective whether his wish is there or not there.
Even he is working for 1 day.
Yes. Whether he desire or not is irrespective of that, he has to be getting registered with the authorities.
Imagine if anything happens to him on the first day, what will be the consequences, and then decide whether to register or not.
There was earlier when online.
So earlier you used to say you used to put it as omitted wages and pay ad hoc challan. That's what you say.
Right.
But see, ESI wants to basically give benefits to the employees, and that's what they are now. Because the online system, you need to, by law, compulsorily you need to put the employees details. Unless and until you don't do that, it won't allow you to generate challans as well, including the contract labor as well. And it was always in the act, but people are not practicing, so now they've put a system around it, and they need to implement that. There is no pragmatic solution to that.
Okay, I think all good things have to come to an end, and it is time for us to stop this discussion here. I'm sure if we continue, there will be more and more questions coming till, as they say, cows come home. I think the cows have gone to their home, and it is time for us also to go to our home. If you have any particular question, we will be here for some more time. You can always engage with them and ask. They would be available for about 5-10 more minutes. Thank you so much, Pratik, and thank you, Mr. Pradhan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Big round of applause for the support of Pradhan, sir. If you want more, updates on notifications or newsletters, we basically publish newsletters on a bi-monthly basis. So you can basically just send a test mail to compliance@karmamgme.com, and you'll get registered as for newsletters and all updates. So our endeavor is always to basically share knowledge among the HR fraternity. I'm also part of some groups and everything. I've always been invited to share some more other knowledge. So that's always my endeavor. Thank you very much for patient hearing.
Thank you.
Have a nice, great weekend.
Can I request Ajit to present the bouquet to
गया देगा बोर्ड और लुक ये करने बोल तो Look here. Excuse me. Look here.
I request Prashant to offer a bouquet to Mr. Pradhan. Thank you so much, sir. He was really gracious to accept our request. I request Anil to thank Mr. Nanesh of FACT for supporting us for organizing this program.
Thank you.
And we will also thank Mr. Rajnish Pai of Radiant HR Services. Rajnish is organizing a training program and some training program for HR professionals. I think you can connect and get more details from him. I think it will be very useful for young budding HR professionals.
I'm launching 2 months HR generalist course
to develop, take advantage of his experience and expertise. And thank you everyone for coming here in a large number and making this a very
Thank you. Pack up, pack.